Example of solving a more complex trigonometric equation will look like this. So this is relatively straightforward to solve. However, a mistake is often made. And so we are going to solve for theta, where theta is between 0 and 360. Now, look at the wording. We're going to solve for theta. We're not trying to isolate the trigonometric ratio. Here we're going to solve for theta. So solve for theta, where the cosine squared of theta is equal to 1. So please press pause and factor this or solve this. Okay? All right, I'm going to try and trust that you're going to solve this. A lot of you guys would use this nifty little trick of taking the square root. So I'm going to take the square root of the left-hand side. The square root of cosine squared just leaves me with cosine. The square root of 1 is going to be plus or minus 1. And remember, when you apply a square root, you need to consider both positive and negative roots. Really what that means is that one side has to be plus and minus. So allow me to, if you don't follow that, allow me to show you how we end up with the same result using a different way. So I'm going to factor this using the zero product property, and we should end up in the same place. So I get cosine squared theta minus 1 is equal to 0. I'm going to use my zero product property. I recognize that, in fact, this is a difference of squares. So I get cosine theta minus 1, cosine theta plus 1 is equal to 0, leaving me with, I have to equate both factors to 0. So cosine theta minus 1 is equal to 0. Cosine theta, I've sort of boxed myself in with not enough space here, plus 1 is equal to 0, which leads me directly to cosine theta is equal to 1, or cosine theta is equal to negative 1. So it takes a little bit longer, but the goal of math is not necessarily to move as quickly as you can, is to get it to be, or to get the most correct answer. So here is a thing that people often forget. When you apply the square root, you must consider both positive and negative roots. I'm talking specifically over here. So since I applied the square root operation to one side, or to both sides, I had to consider where both positive and negative roots on one side. All right, might as well solve this. So this really splits up into two equations. Cosine theta is equal to 1. Cosine theta is equal to negative 1. And again, I'm a creature of habit. I make these beautiful little mini unit circles. Where's cosine equal to 1? Right there. Where's cosine equal to negative 1? Right there. I find it more useful to not really question what angle and try to get the answer right away, is just to put the positions down. So reading the restrictions, because sometimes I try to fool you in the restrictions, we're looking for all angles between 0 and 360. And since it's less than or equal to 0, we're going to include 0. Less than or equal to 360, we're going to include 360. So from this, theta, from this picture here, theta is going to be equal to 0 or 360 degrees. From this picture over here, we are going to get theta is equal to 180 degrees. So my solutions are going to be, therefore, theta is equal to 0, 180, 360. Please don't forget to put your degree signs. So this is an example of exact values. If you notice, I went through that whole example without my unit circle, without a calculator. If you want, you could have had a copy of your unit circle as you guided your way through that.